Hey everybody, Chris Schulte here with Greenlight Quilts. I'd like to show you a technique today on how to do a half rectangle or a rectangle with two different colors without using a special ruler. You can use this technique on any size rectangle. Let me show you how it's done. Okay, so what we're going to do is start with our 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. Here I have two rectangles, two different colors. One thing that's going to be very important is that you orient your fabric. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time throwing away rectangles that I've done improperly. So the blue color I want to put in the lower left corner. The light fabric I want to put in the upper right. So I orient it like this on my workspace so that I know which direction I'm working in. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And the seam line, as if looking from the right side, is going to go from here to here. So what I'm going to do is draw the seam allowance with a fabric marking tool in the corner that will house the seam. So like this, and here. And you're going to do the same thing to your contrasting fabric. This technique is great because you can do it anywhere with a ruler. You don't need a special ruler, just a plain ruler. And it works with any size rectangle. And the downside is you might have a little bit of extra fabric. But we're happy and scrappy people. We know what to do with extra fabric. Okay, so what I'm going to do is draw a line between the intersection of my seam allowance. Now I know there's going to be people out there that's going to want to line it up with the points of your rectangle. That's not going to work. It will not work. Got to go from the intersection of your seam allowances. Okay? All right, this is the next opportunity that you may have to make a little mistake. So let me help you. So I have this oriented. This is in the lower left, upper right. Here is the rectangle part that I'm going to use. I have to cut the seam allowance 1/4 inch from the line I've drawn. So this is my seam allowance, and that's the excess right there. I'm going to line up my ruler, give it a whack. We'll save this. Thanks for coming. We'll use this another time. Likewise, this part here is my rectangle, and this will be my seam allowance down here. So I'll line it up like so. Give it a whack. And now we're ready to rock and roll. So what I'm going to do is, these are kind of funny, like how to line them up as such. So what you do is you dissect. Nancy, what do you think? Bisect your seam allowance. You can see, and I'm just going to poke this guy right through this seam allowance where they intersect, and like Cupid's arrow, I'm going to go straight in. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing down here with this guy. Oops, sorry. Now, y'all might know some trivia that this is our first video with the new camera and the new halo light. I looked like an angel at the beginning, didn't I? So bear with me. I'm going to try to give you good quality videos as we go. Any feedback? Constructive, please. You can be sure to let me know. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take this to the machine, and with a 1/4 inch seam, sew it up, press the seams open, and like with the magic of time, you have your rectangle like this. And then I would like to highlight here. I always like to double check, especially when you're doing a technique for the first time. So my rectangle is 2.5 by 4.5, And also note that the intersection, the 1/4 inch and the 1/4 inch here are both on the seam. And then when you sew this guy to its neighbor, let's say that's with the seam, and you sew, for example, this one, what's going to happen is your seam will go right to the corner, which is what we all want. I hope this helps. Don't let rectangles trip you up, and have a good day. Be kind.